everyone and welcome to a new vlog. I'm starting this one on a Friday afternoon, which is a bit unusual for me, but today's been quite a manic day. I've been working this morning, I've just had lunch and I've just had a bit of a run around vacuuming and dusting because I've got to jump on 2 Zoom calls this afternoon, and then kind of immediately, almost after I get off my last Zoom call, we've got friends coming around for drinks and snacks this evening, which I'm really looking forward to. The weather at the moment looks lovely, so I'm really hoping that it stays that way, because it'd be so nice if we could set up a table outside and enjoy this summer evening, Friday evening in August, actually outdoors and enjoying some cocktails and nibbly bits and a nice conversation with friends. So that would be really lovely. But today's just been a bit of a crazy day because I'm just trying to pull a few things together for this evening whilst juggling work and Zoom calls, and our car is currently at the garage, which definitely complicates the day as well, but never mind, I'm sure I'm going to really enjoy it by the time the evening is here. And I thought I would just quickly show you some of the cookbooks that are inspiring me for this evening, because for this type of thing, what I really like to do is buy some nice sort of nibbles and also make a few things too. So it's just a nice mix, but it's the kind of thing that I can pull together on a day where I've got a lot of work going on, calls going on, and I don't have time to be in the kitchen a lot. And it's been a busy week as well, so I haven't been able to prepare anything in advance. So this is really the type of thing that can be pulled together last minute, but will hopefully still be lovely. So obviously the things I want to make are going to be really simple, but I do like a nice cocktail. So I'm going to make one that's in this cookbook. It's A House Party in Tuscany by Amber Guinness. And I absolutely love the sound of this cocktail. It's called the Pink Wink cocktail. I love that name. And it takes Prosecco, the grapefruit San Pellegrino drinks, and then some Campari. So you mix all of those together. I love grapefruit and I love Campari, and I like quite bitter cocktails, but with the Prosecco that will just make it nice and bubbly and summery as well. So I'm trying to decide what jugs. The nice thing about this is apparently you can just mix all the ingredients together in a jug. So I've got everything chilling in the fridge right now, like the Prosecco, the Campari, and the grapefruit San Pellegrino drink, so that all of the components will be really cold. And then just before the guests get here, I'm going to pop everything in a jug. I love this jug, but I think sadly it's probably a bit too small. So I think this one will be kept for some sparkling water for everyone. Fortunately, I have a bigger jug, which is this enamel one, and I think this is what I'll actually put all of the cocktail ingredients into, give it a good mix up, and then I can serve the cocktails really easily from this, and obviously people can help themselves too. So that's the drink that I've got planned for when people arrive, which will be so nice. And then one of the things I'm making is from this cookbook called Tucking In, a very comforting cookbook by Sophie Wybird. And this is really lovely. It's got some lovely looking recipes in it, but one that really caught my eye is this green olive baked camembert. I love doing baked camembert. It's such an easy thing to do, but people always really enjoy it. It's always such a lovely treat, just the kind of thing you want on a Friday evening. And it's a good dish, I think, even for this time of year, because the weather's so changeable. It can be quite chilly. I'm hoping the sun stays, but in case it doesn't, some lovely baked cheese is just never going to go amiss, is it? But I also feel that what lightens this one and makes it a bit more sort of summer appropriate is the green olive salsa, which sounds so good. It's like olives and parsley and a green chili, and I've got to sort of pound it up in a pestle and mortar, and there's some olive oil, and then that will go on top of the baked camembert with a drizzle of honey, and that just sounds so good. So that's going to be something that I make, and I'll get the salsa ready ahead of time so that when people arrive, we'll have the cocktails, we'll have a few nibbly bits, and I'll put the camembert in then, so that we'll have that just slightly later in the evening, and that will be really yummy. And then the other thing that I'm hoping to make, but I'm having trouble with this, so I wanted to make this black bean and harissa dip, which is from this cookbook, which I really like, by the way. It's Cook Fast, Eat Well by Sue Quinn. 5 ingredients, 10 minutes, 160 recipes. This is a really good one when you need to pull things together very quickly. And I thought this dip sounded really good. I have harissa, so that's great. And it's just sort of black beans, lime juice, and some herbs. The only problem is that I'm having a lot of trouble finding black beans, which is so silly. But I went to 2 different grocery stores yesterday. Neither had black beans. So because the car's in the garage today, haven't been able to do any more grocery shopping, but the car will hopefully come back just in time to be able to then nip out to another grocery store, see if they have black beans. If they don't, never mind, I'll be able to just make that another time. But it would be nice because it just sounds so easy, and it's nice to have a little homemade dip. But I did pick up some hummus and a few other dips from Marks, which is great. And I also want to show you something else I really like from Marks, are their sausage rolls, and their vegetarian ones, because a vegetarian is coming, are actually really, really good. So they're the mature cheddar and caramelized onion rolls. I'll obviously put these in the oven just to warm through before the guests come. But so I've got some of these, and I've also got some just regular sausage rolls, which is great. I mean, you know, I normally love making sausage rolls, but it's not been that kind of week at all. So I've just picked up some from Marks, but they're really nice. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also going to make some little crostini with smashed avocado. So I'll be pulling that together at the end as well. But I think this is the thing. I mean, we're all really busy, aren't we? But it's nice to still try to make the effort to have people around, especially in the summertime. And I always like just, you know, making a few simple things and then just buying a few nibbles, and I think that people still really enjoy it, and it takes a lot of the stress and pressure off and means that you can actually pull something together really last minute, but it's still just a nice thing to do. So anyway, I better get on with all that I have to do now. So Mum's just holding the camera for me a minute so I can show you my outfit of the day, which is a new sea salt dress that I got, and I love it. So I don't know if you can see the pattern, but they almost look like seed packets, or that's what it reminds me of. And I just thought this was such a lovely dress for this time of year, and it's perfect for a day like today, where I want something nice to wear in the daytime and for my Zoom calls and all of that, but I don't have to get changed later. I think this will be really nice for drinks this evening as well. So I love this dress. I'll just give you a twirl. And yeah, it's a sea salt style that's a real favourite of mine. So this is my outfit of the day. So before I move to the next part of my video, I wanted to tell you about my Serious Readers offer code, as well as a great competition that Serious Readers are running over the summer. I'm thrilled to say that Serious Readers are very kindly sponsoring today's video. As you know, I'm a huge fan of their reading lights. I use my high definition floor light all the time when I'm reading, and I absolutely love it. So let me tell you about my offer code, which is Miranda, all capital letters, Miranda24. And this offer code is valid to all UK residents now, and it gets you £100 off any of the high definition lights, as well as free UK shipping. Reading is a very big part of my job. I read every day, so having a great reading light matters a lot to me. I read a lot of vintage books as well as new books. Vintage books like this one, which often have quite faded pages and the font can be hard to read. So my serious light really helps me to avoid eye strain when I'm reading all of these vintage books. Something that's special about the high definition lights is that they feature daylight wavelength technology, which replicates the daylight spectrum as closely as technically possible. And I love this because it feels like I'm reading in natural light, or as close to natural light as you can get. And that also helps me to reduce eye strain, and it just makes my reading experience that much more enjoyable. I also like that I can adjust the width of the beam of the light, as well as the brightness levels of the light, so I get the perfect amount of light for me wherever I'm reading. The model I have is that high definition cordless floor light. And I love the cordless option because it means I can pick up this light and carry it around to wherever I'm reading, whether it's downstairs in the living room or upstairs in my bedroom or whichever chair I want to be sitting in, I can be sure and have my reading light next to me. I also wanted to mention an exciting competition that serious readers are running this summer. It's open for all UK residents and you have until the 31st of August to enter. All you have to do is head to try.seriousreaders.com/summer-2024-competition and fill in your details on the form on that page to be in with a chance of winning. There's some great prizes on offer for first, second and third place. For first place, you could win a high definition light worth up to £449.99. Second place, you could win a Nomad light worth £149.99. And third place, you could win a Roam light worth £99.99. So do go and have a look, and good luck to everyone who enters that competition. But anyway, I'll put the links that I mentioned for the competition and also for my high definition light. All the information will be in the video description box down below. So check that out for the links and for my offer code as well. Remember, it's Miranda, all capital letters, 24, and that gets £100 off any of the high definition lights for any UK resident, as well as free UK shipping. So remember to check out all of the details in the video description box. And now let's get back to my video. Okay, so I've finished my 2 Zoom calls and now I'm going to throw some canapes together ready for this evening. Let me show you what I do. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to throw together are some little crostini. So I love these. These are just ready bought from Marks. Very, very handy for when you're in a rush. And I'm going to layer basically some smashed avocado and a shrimp on top of that for one variation. And then for the vegetarian variation, I've sliced some radishes and I'm going to layer those on top of the smashed avocado because we have a vegetarian who's coming. So really, really fast. Let's just whip these together. And what I like to do is I am generous with the avocado. I think it's much nicer to sort of not just have a really thin layer, but to have quite a nice amount on top. And then I can just layer with the shrimp on top as well, prawn. So I think they just look pretty, but they're very easy to do and very tasty as well. So I'm going to keep going with these, and then I'm going to do some with radishes on top. Okay, so you can see I've done all of the ones with shrimp. I've still got some left, so I can always do a few more, but I wanted to show you the avocado with radish variation. Honestly, I love this because it's so easy. I just like to sort of layer the sliced radish on top, about 3 of them. And obviously I've washed my hands, but it just is a really sort of simple but effective thing to do because I love the colour. You can see it's pretty, the green with the white and pinky red of the radish is just really attractive, and it's just fresh tasting and really pleasant. So I just layer them on top, and I'm really against the clock here, but you can see how easy this is to just pull together. And there I've got some really nice little snacky bits. One last step though, and that's to add some salt. I really like pink Himalayan rock salt, so I'm going to just put some on top. And if you like, you could always put a squirt of lemon actually over these. That would be nice too. But I'm against the clock, so I think this will do. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just quickly prepare the green olive relish for the camembert. I'm not going to put the camembert in the oven until the guests arrive. I'm going to have the crostini and a drink, hopefully outside, we'll see. It's not too windy. We'll have that outside, and then we'll kind of come in, have a few more nibbles. I've got like some hummus and the black bean dip and crudité and things like that. But then we'll also have the camembert. So I'm waiting to put it in the oven, but I'm going to get the green olive relish all done already. So I've got my finely chopped olives here, just used a pack of them that I like. I've finely chopped up a green chilli, I've got my half lemon, and I've got my parsley in here. I know it looks a bit weird to have it in a cup, but my favourite way of chopping herbs is actually just to put them in a cup like this, and then I just use scissors and I snip away, and it's the best way to just finely chop herbs. I've got my salt and my olive oil. Here's the camembert, smelling very ripe, but very nice. So that will be ready. So what's fun about this is it's actually a nice thing to do on a Friday night if you've had a bit of a tough week at work. And it's quite therapeutic because you just pound up the olives, so you can take out any frustrations from the week by actually making a really nice snack for a Friday night with friends. So that's nice. So I'm just going to pound away at these. So I have pounded up the olives, and now I just need to pound up the green chili as well, so I'm going to add that. I de-seeded the chili. I don't think the recipe has any instructions to de-seed, so I think it just leaves it up to you. I don't like things that are too hot though, so I definitely took the seeds out. But if you like things hotter, then you could add the seeds, but definitely not for me. But I'm going to pop that in, and then you just pound away again. Okay, I've added in the parsley as well and just pounded that up a bit too. I'm going to pour in the olive oil now, and also the juice of half a lemon. Give that a good squirt and try and not get it all over myself. I should really have an apron on if I were being a good tidy cook, but never mind. Just squeeze that in. It smells really nice. I'm actually really excited to try it, and I really like the look of the cookbook Tucking In that I showed you that this recipe is from. There are so many really lovely kind of comfort food sort of recipes. I think especially going into autumn and winter, there's going to be so many that I want to try from that cookbook. But I just loved this slightly more fancy version of a baked camembert. I mean, it's so easy. Like, this literally just goes in the oven for about 25 minutes, and you could just eat it as it is, and it's delicious. You know, melted cheese with bread, always a good thing. But making this kind of green olive relish to go with it, because what will happen is once this has been baked, take it out of the oven, pile on the relish on top, and then I'm just going to squeeze over some honey, and not too much, you know, just a little drizzle of honey over, and it just sounds like it'll be delicious. So I think when you're having people over and it's a bit more of a party vibe, it's nice to do something just a little bit more special. So having this really lovely olive relish, I think will be so nice with it. I'm going to add some salt as well. So just a good grinding of salt in this. And I cannot wait to eat this, I have to say. I think that's good now, so I'm just going to set this aside and just make sure I've got everything pulled together and probably have to start setting up outside. But yeah, can't wait to try it all. Good morning, everyone. It's the next day and I'm enjoying having my early morning cup of tea outside as I admire the lovely view. There are some dark clouds in the sky, but I'm hoping it will brighten up a bit today and be sunny. Good morning, everyone. So it's now the next day and it was such a lovely evening yesterday, such a nice way to spend a Friday night in August. We did attempt to sit outside and it was just like sitting in a gale, so we had to move back in, but it didn't matter. It was still a really lovely summer's evening, and I have to say the Pink Wink cocktail was an absolute hit. So yummy. I do like quite bitter cocktails, so I love ones with Campari. I love grapefruit personally, so one that has Campari and grapefruit drink, the San Pellegrino grapefruit drink is so nice. And then Prosecco is just perfect for me, but our guests really enjoyed it too. It was a really fun evening. All of the food was very yummy. I loved the baked camembert with the sort of green olive relish. I'll definitely be making that again. That was a real hit too. And it was just nice to have some easy sort of nibbles and things like that. We actually prepared way too much food. We always do that, but I always think it's always better to have too much than too little food. So I much prefer erring on the side of too much. But yeah, we had a lot of leftovers. But yes, it was just really nice. And today actually the sun has really come out and it looks a lot less windy, which is nice too. So I think we're going to try and go back to Shandy Hall this afternoon. You'll probably remember that from a previous vlog of mine when we went and we saw the Carrie Ackroyd exhibition. And Shandy Hall is a literary house in Yorkshire. It was owned by the writer Lawrence Stern. And the garden there was just so lovely, and apparently there's a nice sort of tea room in the area, in the village, and we didn't get a chance to try going there the last time. And this is just the kind of day where we fancy having a nice little drive in the countryside, and it's a really pretty drive to Shandy Hall. So we thought we'd just have a nice little drive there, go around the garden again, and hopefully find this tea room and just have a nice sort of pot of tea or maybe a cream tea or something like that this afternoon. So just low key, but a nice afternoon out. So Mum and I are looking forward to that. My outfit of the day, I'll try to show you if I swivel this around a bit. So I'm wearing a Brora blouse that I got in their sale, really, really marked down. I was so thrilled to pick this up actually. I love the sort of detailing around the collar, and it's just a really pretty mix of blues and greens, which are favourite colours of mine. So I'm wearing this Brora blouse. If it's still available, then I'll link to it because it's such a bargain at the moment. It really is a great piece from their sale. I love the sort of puff sleeves of this blouse. So if it's still available, then I'll link it in the video description box. And then these were also a sale purchase from Brora, these trousers. Go back a bit. Don't know if you can see. But yeah, so these I got in this sort of green colour as well as a pink colour, and I picked them up in the sale. I do like getting some of the sort of Brora blouses and dresses and things like that in their sale because they can really go down to good prices then, which is always nice. So yes, I'm really, really pleased with this blouse, and I'm ready to go out and enjoy the sunny afternoon and make the most of these last weekends of summer for sure. So we better get going. So we're just sitting in the garden at the tea rooms in Cotswold Village, right by Lawrence Stern's house, Shandy Hall. It's really lovely. It's such a beautiful afternoon. It's wonderful to just sit out in a pretty garden, and we've ordered some cake and drinks. Mum's just over here.
Hello. You should see the size of my cake. Apparently I got the last bit of coffee sponge.
Yeah. So you've got a huge slab.
Help me because it's huge.
Looks very nice though. I've got
delicious,
Victoria sponge and an elderflower cordial drink because I'm thirsty.
Coffee because it's always nice to have a coffee out.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So we're back home now, and it was a really lovely afternoon, wasn't it?
Great fun. We had a lovely time. It was such an interesting tour of Shandy Hall.
Yes, we went on the proper tour this time, and it was really interesting. I really recommend it. Unfortunately, you can't take photos or film. So I couldn't show you inside the house, but it's definitely worth going and seeing for yourself.
Highly recommended. And the curator, he also lives there, and he was a real storyteller, so it was marvellous. It was great experience.
It was really good, really good.
And then we found a wonderful place for tea and cakes.
Yes.
So that was lovely.
Yes, really recommend the tea rooms in Cotswold, the little village. It's so charming, and we could sit out in the garden. And they did a really good Victoria sponge, and your coffee sponge was very good too.
Very nice.
Yeah, really good cakes. So highly recommend. Yeah. And it's such a pretty little village, and the church is spectacular as well. Definitely recommend having a look inside if you can, if you're in the area. But it's such a nice place to go to, and we just fancied
far from York either.
We just fancied just a kind of fairly relaxed destination, didn't we? And it was nice for that. It's a nice place to go, and it wasn't sort of too much to do, but it was just really nice. Oh, and we did find a couple books because they have a bookshop at Shandy Hall, and it's really worth going to. It's a second-hand bookshop. So I spotted this Stella Gibbons, which is one I've wanted, Enbury Heath. I like this edition.
It's lovely.
So I was really pleased it's a vintage edition. And
is it
pleased to
Hampstead
pick it up.
Heath it's based on?
Yes, it is, because she lived on Hampstead Heath with her brothers. Apparently this is a sort of semi-autobiographical novel, partly inspired by her own sort of experience living on the heath. So I love Hampstead Heath, so this is definitely one I want to read. And then you spotted this one, which was very clever of Mum. 3 Men in a Boat by Jerome K. Jerome is one of my favourite books. I absolutely love it. It's hilarious. And Mum spotted this brilliant folio edition, gorgeously illustrated. I mean, look at the M papers.
So beautiful.
Really lovely.
I think it was Paul Cox was the artist.
Yes, Paul Cox. And just so well done. And as I've said many times, I always love to look out for folio editions of my favourite books. Three Men in a Boat is definitely a favourite. And this was just £10, which is a great bargain for folio. So I was thrilled, and just look at those illustrations, really beautiful. It makes me want to read it again. This is such a lovely summer book, actually.
It is, isn't it?
It really is, and it does make me want to read it again, so I can read it with the illustrations. So well done you for spotting that. But yes, so it's just been a really lovely afternoon, and I think we'll take advantage of course, this evening we have no one coming over. It's like gloriously sunny and perfect weather for sitting outside. So we'll just do that. We'll just enjoy it. We'll go and sit outside, and I could do with a cup of tea, actually. I'm looking forward to that. So we're going to just enjoy our evening. Hello everyone, so it's pretty much the end of the weekend now, but I just wanted to hop on and finish off this vlog and also catch you up on some of my recent reads, because I've done a lot of good reading lately actually, so I wanted to share that. It's been a busy Sunday. I had work to do in the morning, and then I had an exciting thing this afternoon, which was that I picked up some new glasses, which I desperately needed. I haven't had new glasses for probably about 12 years or something, maybe even a bit longer. And my eyesight apparently has actually improved a bit, which is really good news, as I have very, very bad eyesight. So anyway, I needed new glasses. I won't put these on for long, so I already have my contacts in, but I'm really pleased with them, and it was just wonderful to pick them up, so I was so happy to get those earlier today. But let me tell you about what I've been reading. So I read the latest Christiana Brand mystery that the British Library have just brought out. This is part of their Crime Classics series. And I'm a big fan of Christiana Brand. I love her Golden Age crime mysteries. I've raved before about Green for Danger and Suddenly at His Residence. Those are my two favourites so far of hers. I have also read Death of a Jezebel by her, and I've just finished this one recently, Tour de Force, which features Inspector Cockrell. That's her main inspector that crops up in all of the mysteries I've read so far. And he's off on holiday and very much regretting it. He's on one of these package holidays going around Italy and an island off Italy with a group of travellers, and he rather wishes he were back in England. It's a bit of an eclectic bunch of people that he's travelling with, and soon it becomes clear that at least a couple of these people are not all who they appear to be. And then one of them is murdered. So I was really enjoying this. It does feel a bit more dated than some of her other books to me, but in general I was enjoying the mystery. But I feel she does something really odd at the end with this one. Normally she's so good on a great twist at the end, and there is a twist, and I think the reader, once you get to this twist, you realise what the solution to the mystery is. It's really very clear. But for some reason, the story kind of keeps going, and really unlikely things happen before it's kind of finally all wrapped up, and what you guessed quite a while ago actually comes out as the real solution. So, bit of an odd one, because there is a good twist, and it should have just kind of ended when the sort of twist is revealed. So I found that strange. So a bit disappointing. I mean, I'm still a fan of Christiana Brand, and this was a really good, like, hot summer read. So it was definitely one that I was glad I read in the summertime. And it was still quite a fun mystery, but I just felt she messed up the ending a bit, which is not like her. But anyway, I read that. And then, well, what I'm reading at the moment is A Month in the Country by J.L. Carr. This is a reread for me. I've spoken many times before on the channel about how much I like this one, and it's set in August, so it's a perfect August read. It's also set in Yorkshire, just after World War One. This is what I have chosen for my Seasons of Classic book club, which is part of my membership, Seasons of Story. I run a quarterly book club in that, and this is our summer read that we'll be discussing on August 31st. So I'm reading that now, and yes, it's really nice to return to this one. Again, another lovely summer read. And then I'm reading this, well actually I've finished this, it's Small Bomb at Dimperley by Lissa Evans. I was sent this in advance of its publication date. It's actually due to be published on September 5th, and I'm going to be interviewing Lissa Evans about it. I'm a huge fan of her books. If you like books that are set during World War II, then you absolutely have to read hers. I actually went back and reread all of her World War II books because she's been writing these over quite a number of years, and I thought this book might be a kind of follow-on from a trilogy that she wrote that has like overlapping characters. Actually it isn't, it's a standalone read, which is really good news if you haven't read her other books, because you could absolutely start with this one, and it's actually my very favourite of her books so far. This is set just at the end of World War II, so the war's over, but it's only just over, and it's about a young man called Valentine who's coming back after being away fighting, and he realizes he's inherited his family estate, and this is not a responsibility that he in fact wanted. And this old house in the English countryside is in sort of terrible shape. It was requisitioned during the war and not treated very well. His mother very much wants him to run the estate as it used to be run in the years before the war. She doesn't realize how much the world has changed. So there are some really great characters in this book. There's also a romance that occurs, and it's just such a brilliant read. It's really heartwarming and sweet. I really enjoyed the romance. I enjoyed some of the quirkier characters, like the real sort of matriarch character of the mother, who's a bit of a tyrant but a really good character. And yeah, there were just lots of good characters in this book, but very memorable. I really enjoyed it. So I can't wait to interview Lissa Evans about this. But like I said, if you don't know her writing, then I really recommend obviously reading this one, but reading her other books too, which are all actually set during World War II, of the ones I'm going to tell you about anyway. So Their Finest Hour and a Half is, I think, the one that a lot of people read at the time, and a film was actually made of this called Their Finest, which I've never actually seen, and rereading this I realised, oh, I really should see the film as well. I watched the trailer and it looks very different, I have to say. The film looks quite different from the book. I think there are a lot more characters and a lot more storylines in the book, but the film still looks so good. I definitely want to watch it. Maybe we'll even watch it tonight, because I really would like to see it. But this is a great story. It's set during World War II, as I've said, and it's about a film being made during the war. And there are themes of sort of propaganda. There's a lot about the Ministry of Information and how they were involved with filmmaking during World War II, and the use of films to try to get American support and sympathy with the war happening. I mean, so much really fascinating historical background. I think that's one of the things I like the most about Lissa Evans's writing is, I mean, she's got wonderful characters that are really memorable, that's for sure, but also she really does her research, and it's not put through in a heavy-handed way into her books. It's, you know, she writes with a very light touch, but there's a lot of really interesting kind of background information, and you feel that she really takes her research very seriously, and it feels like a very accurate portrayal. So I think Lissa Evans also worked with the BBC before kind of becoming a full-time novelist. So she obviously was maybe drawing on some of her own experience as well, like script writing and actors and all this kind of thing. But it's such a funny book. She's got great sense of humour too. And a lot of the characters, if not all very likeable, are definitely very funny in this book. So yeah, I really enjoyed returning to this. And then I reread her trilogy as well, which began with Crooked Heart, and then Old Baggage, and then V for Victory. So it's been ages since I read them, so it was actually really nice to return to them. The first one in the trilogy is Crooked Heart. Again, it's set during World War II, and it's about a middle-aged woman who's really struggling to make ends meet, and she's tempted to some rather dishonest means of trying to make money. But then she accepts an evacuee into her home, a young boy who's been orphaned, and they actually end up forming quite an unlikely but a very heartwarming friendship. And it really is their story that's at the sort of crooked heart of this novel. And it's just a very heartwarming story, I have to say. So this is the first one in the series, and I really recommend it. And then Old Baggage is probably my favourite from the trilogy. And actually this is more like a prequel to Crooked Heart. It's set in the interwar years, and it primarily concerns a character who you find out a bit about at the start of Crooked Heart, but then this book really kind of goes back in time and tells you her whole story. And I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's mainly set in Hampstead in London, which is a location that I love. It's set in a sort of lead up to World War II, and it's about an elderly woman who was a suffragette as a young woman and very much involved in helping women to gain the vote. But as she kind of looks back on her life and reflects on where she is now and where the world is and women's rights are, she feels perhaps she could have done more, or she's a little bit disappointed in what has happened in this period of time in the interwar years, and she feels there's more she could do. And she starts a club for young women and girls on Hampstead Heath. And it's just such a wonderful book. I absolutely love this one. I'd be tempted in some ways to say you could start with this and then read Crooked Heart, but the kind of publication order is definitely Crooked Heart and then Old Baggage. And in some ways that does work quite well, I think, because you do meet some characters in Old Baggage that make an appearance in V for Victory. So you definitely want to read this before V for Victory, and in a way it's good to read it second, because then you go straight on for V for Victory and you still remember the characters that were kind of introduced in Old Baggage. So V for Victory is the third one. It's also really good. And it's set kind of just before the end of the war. And again, the historical information in this is really good. I found it really interesting. It's set after, the real Blitz years, but I had no idea about some of the bombs that came after that and how London was still being bombed a great deal. And there's just so much really interesting information in this, as well as it being a really heartwarming, kind of life-affirming type story. So absolutely love them. So yes, I know a lot of you, like me, enjoy books set during World War II, and I just wanted to highlight Lyssa Evans for you because I think she's a really talented writer, but I'm so excited to talk to her, and I absolutely adored Small Bomb at Dimpley, so yeah, I loved that one as well. But anyway, that's what I've been reading lately. Do let me know what you've been reading too. I'd love to hear, and thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. An extra big thanks, of course, as always, to those of you who pressed the super thanks button on my last video. I so appreciate your support. I appreciate the support of everyone who watches and likes and subscribes to my channel, puts comments on my videos, and who of course is a member of Seasons of Story, my community, and supports my work in that way as well. So grateful for all of you. I hope you've been having a wonderful start to August. I can't believe actually we're in mid-August already. This month is going so quickly, but I hope you're having a lovely August, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.